So I've been living in my tiny house for just over 7 months, and there are some things that have surprised me. And so in today's video, I'm going to go over the 10 things that have surprised me the most after living in my tiny house for just over half a year. The first thing that surprised me, or maybe it shouldn't have, but it did, was you make a lot of new friends when you live in a tiny house on wheels. People are curious and they want to know more. So here in the park, I moved in July, and so summertime, and I was out. First of all, we were skirting it in and we were building the front steps, and I was out quite a bit, and people would drive by, stop in the middle of the road and yell out their window, "Hey, nice house," or "Welcome to the neighborhood," or they would ask me questions. People would walk their dogs by really, really slowly so that they would have the opportunity to stop and chat. I got to meet a lot of my neighbors. It was surprising to me how friendly and welcoming people were and are, and so I made a lot of new friends here. I also made a lot of new friends online through Facebook and my Instagram account. I have an Instagram, in case you didn't know, at My Big Tiny House Life. People have been reaching out steadily to ask questions, to get advice. I've had the opportunity to speak on the phone with a number of people, and I've also had a number of people come and see the house, and I've got to meet them in person. So I've met some really amazing people that are on their own, unique journey, and it's been fascinating to hear their stories and hear them talk about their dreams for going tiny. I am amazed at how many people I have met since moving into this tiny house and through this journey. It's been wonderful. The second most surprising thing that I've learned since living in my tiny house is that I really didn't need most of the stuff that I used to have. When I decided to go tiny and put my townhouse up for sale and started my decluttering journey, I estimate that I got rid of 2/3 of my possessions, clothes and furniture and just crap. And the remaining third I put into a storage unit. And while I was finishing my build, and when I took possession of the house and then was emptying that storage unit to bring the things in here, of that 1/3, probably at least a quarter, maybe even a third, didn't come in here. I didn't need most of what I had, and I have yet to miss something that I got rid of. And I wondered if I would. I didn't think I would, but I wondered if I would miss something that I had decluttered, and I haven't. So that's number two. I'm shocked at how little, how few of the things that I used to have that I miss, that I actually needed. Point number three of the most surprising things I've learned in the just over half a year I've been living in my tiny house is that I really do think twice now before I buy anything, before I bring anything into this house. I ask myself, mostly, do I really need it, or do I just kind of want it because I saw it and it's pretty? So do I really need it? Where will I store it? Is there something that I already have that I can use instead? Can I borrow something? And if I do really need it and want to bring it in, is there something that I can take out of the house, something that I can get rid of? So I ask myself those questions, and I really do think twice, 3 times before I buy something, and make sure that it's something that I really need and I will really use. Number 4 on the list of things that kind of surprised me after having lived in the tiny house for a while is that you really don't need a dedicated eating space, dining room. I haven't missed it yet. I do have plans to build a little flip-up eating bar on the back of the peninsula in the kitchen. I eat most of my meals sitting right here, or sitting on the stool by the kitchen counter, I don't miss having a dedicated eating space. I have the desk space that I could use as an eating space too, and I had always thought that would sort of be the space that I used, but I never use it. I mostly eat here, and I have yet to miss having a dedicated, always purposed for eating space. I came from a townhouse that had not just a dining room table, but also a kitchen table with 4 chairs and an eating bar in the kitchen with 3 stools. So I had 3 dedicated eating spaces in my previous home, and the eating bar got used a lot in the kitchen when my kids were living with me for meals, but mostly I sat on the couch and ate my meals in front of the TV. Maybe not the best way to do it, some people might say, but it's reality. The fact is, I make my dinner and I sit here and either read or watch something on YouTube. So number 5 on the things that surprised me about living in a tiny house is that there's this phenomenon that happens, is that your stuff seems to expand to fill your space, which really surprised me given how much I got rid of and how little I buy. But there were still a bunch of things that I brought into the house from my previous home that I wasn't sure I wanted to get rid of, or I hadn't really thought about where I was going to put it. So I have storage stairs going up into my gooseneck bedroom, and they're pretty much full of stuff, and they don't need to be. I don't have a spare room as a junk room. I don't have a garage. I don't have a basement to fill up, but you still end up with space with crap in it that you don't need. And that surprised me, given how careful I thought I was being. That's a project that I'm going to tackle here in the next couple of months. I think I'll video the before and after of what those storage steps look like. They actually hold a lot. And when I first moved in, I was just kind of desperate to empty boxes and have the floor space cleared. So I shoved some stuff in there thinking that I would deal with it later. And it's 7.5 months later, and I haven't dealt with it yet. So it's time to deal with it. So yeah, that is number 5. It's amazing how your stuff just seems to expand to fill your space if you're not really on top of it. And in a space this size, you can still have junk storage spaces. So number 6 of the things that have kind of surprised me since I've been living in the tiny house is that laundry, while it seems to take less time because I have, I guess, fewer things to wash, it requires more thought. I have a washer-dryer combo unit, which I quite like, and I'm going to do a review on and discuss everything bathroom and laundry in another video. I quite like it, but it washes a much bigger load than it dries, and the drying cycle takes a long time, and you use up a lot of energy doing that. So I either, for just a quick load, I will wash in my washer dryer combo unit, and I will sometimes dry, but mostly I hang my clothes up to dry. So just the logistics of trying to figure out how I'm going to hang my clothes up to dry, I will either do that or I go to the laundromat in the neighborhood here, which is super fast and really inexpensive. So I'm kind of surprised at how much time I think about the best way to do my laundry, which sounds kind of silly now that I say it out loud. On my list of things that surprised me, I think really surprised me how fast this home went from being a tiny house on wheels to just a house, just a home. Not small, not tiny. It doesn't feel tiny to me. It so quickly became just my space that I don't even think about it. Recently somebody asked me if I felt like I was living in an RV, and that was a surprising question to me because I've never felt like I was living in an RV or a trailer. It just feels like a house. The fact that it's on a trailer on wheels, I actually totally forget that it is, because it just feels like home. It doesn't feel small. It doesn't feel cramped. I don't feel like I have sacrificed anything that I need. It just feels like home. And it surprised me how fast that happened, probably within a few weeks. Feels like I've been here so much longer than just the 7 months, and I can't picture living anywhere else. Number 9 on the things that surprised me. This one maybe doesn't surprise me as much as some of the others, but I don't miss the dishwasher at all. I just do my dishes after I eat, and usually just dry them and put them away. There's nothing that sits in the sink. Having a dishwasher and being a single person would just mean that the dishes I needed were always in the dishwasher, so it didn't make sense. People often ask me, don't you miss a dishwasher? Like, how can you not have a dishwasher? Meh. It's not a problem at all. So number 10 on the things that surprised me since living in the tiny house is how safe I feel in here. In the townhouse, and even in my previous big house when I was married, you know, with a basement and multiple doors in and this big space, sometimes when you hear a sound at night, you wonder what it is, right? Nothing creeps me out in this house. I can sit up in bed and see straight to the front door, and I never have felt unsafe. I've never felt creeped out. I've never felt like this space was anything but secure and snug and safe. So that I wondered how that would be, especially moving into a new neighborhood. But no, I don't feel at all unsafe. I've felt nothing but secure in this tiny house. So that's the video. The 10 things that have surprised me the most about moving into and living in my tiny house. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any questions below. I will answer any questions that you do, and any comments, and I will see you next week.